Very good morning. Very good morning. Let the others to join, and then I will start. Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Today,
Good morning, sir.
today I will complete the female genital system. So I think you are able to see the slide. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in last class we have finished about the oviduct. As I already told you that the female genital system is mainly consisted of ovary, oviduct, uterus, vagina, and vulva. So today I will go through the uterus. So the uterus is a musculomembranous sac. Okay, the uterus is a musculomembranous sac. If you will see, these are the ovary, and ovary is connected with the oviduct. Then this whole portion is of the uterus. Okay, and most dilated part of the uterus is called as cervix. Then it will be continued with the vagina, and the external opening of the female genital tract is the vulva. So the uterus, as you can see in the female genital system, the uterus is the largest part of the female genital system, and it is a musculomembranous sac which is continuous with the oviduct. It is continuous with the oviduct, and in front it is continuous in front of the oviduct, and behind it is continuous with the vagina. And this whole uterus usually lies in the abdominal cavity. As I already told you that the fold of the peritoneum that covers the whole uterus is called as broad ligament. Okay, this completely is the broad ligament. Okay, and the part that this broad ligament covers the ovary, oviduct, and uterus in the all together. But individually, as I already told you, that the ovary is covered with the mesoovarium, then oviduct is covered with the mesosalpinx, and the uterus is covered with the mesometrium. Then this uterus is usually consists of three parts. So these two parts that is curved, these are called as uterine horns or the horn of the uterus. Then the middle portion, this part is called as body of the uterus, and last most dilated part, it is called as cervix. And the out of these three parts, the horns are larger in the length, and the body is smaller as compared to the horn and the cervix. So the horn are situated in the abdomen, and they are about to 35 to 40 centimeter, 35 to 40 centimeter long, and they are curved and form a spiral coil. They are curved, as you can see, they are curved in the outline and they form the spiral coil. And the dorsal border means upper border is attached to the lateral part of the flank by the broad ligament. The upper part is connected with the flank region by the by the help of the broad ligament. Then second part is the body, and body is smaller as compared to the horns, and it is about 3 to 4 centimeter in long. And this body is cylindrical and it is related to the rectum dorsally and bladder below. Means above the body there will be last part of the intestine, that is rectum, and the lower part of the ventral part of the body is related to the urinary bladder. So upper part is with the rectum and lower part is the urinary bladder. And the body and the cervix, it is very, very important. Each other through, you can see this is the body and this is the cervix. So there will be one opening here. So this opening is called as orificium internum uteri. Orificium internum uteri. So body and the cervix, they are communicated with each other by a very small opening. So this is called as orificium internum uteri. Then third part of the uterus is the cervix, and it is about 10 centimeter in the length. It is about 10 centimeter in the length. And the wall of the cervix are very dense and very thick. So this is most dilated part of the female genital organs, and the part of the cervix here, I will show you just a minute. Okay, I will tell you. So these are the horns, as you can see. This is the body, and cervix, if you will cut out, here you will find the cervix. Then these are the uterine horns. Here is the body, and this hole is the flap of the broad ligament. Now, I already told you that this is the body and the cervix, there is an opening. This opening in between the body of the uterus and the cervix is called as orificium internum uteri, as you can see here. Orificium internum uteri. Then one more important thing, the part of the cervix. So this hole is the cervix, as you can see. This is the most dilated. So one more important thing is the cervix internally, it remains in the spiral manner. And the part of the cervix that projects towards the part of the cervix that project towards the vagina, okay, that project towards the vagina, this is an important terminology. This is called as fornix vaginae. Means some part of the cervix, it is projected towards the vagina. This part is called as fornix vagina. Okay, when it will go towards the vagina, so there will be formation of one space in between the wall of the vagina and the projected part of the cervix. So the space is called as fornix vagina. And the lumen of the cervix is spiral, I already told you, and it is very tightly closed and very difficult to dilate. The vaginal part of the uterus is fused ventrally with the vagina. Okay, the vaginal part of the uterus, it is fused with the ventrally with the vagina. Now, very, very important is, now it is very, very important. Just a minute, I will show you. Suppose this is the body of the uterus or some part of the horn of the uterus. So the mucous membrane, there will be one mucous membrane that will cover the whole body and the horn of the uterus. So it presents a large number of oval prominences here. It presents large number of the oval prominence over the body of the uterus. So part of the horn of the uterus, and these prominences are called as maternal caruncles, and these maternal caruncles are main characteristic feature in case of the ruminants. You will find maternal caruncles. This is very, very important. Then these maternal caruncles, they are around 80 to 100 in number, and they are irregularly scattered. They are irregularly scattered and arranged into the rows. And so you can see here, so these are the cervix. You can see here, cervix is the most dilated part of the female genital tract, and their internal structure will be little bit different in different species. And I already told you that the part of the cervix which is projected toward, some part of the cervix that is projected towards the vagina, so the space in between the vaginal border and the projected part of the cervix, this space is called as fornix vaginae. Fornix vaginae. And the opening of the cervix over the vagina, this is called as external cervix os. So there will be two opening. In the one opening, the body of the uterus, it opens into the cervix by the by one opening. That opening is the that opening I told you, that is called as orificium internum uteri, and the opening of the cervix which is towards the vagina, it is called as external cervical os. Then the mucosa of the cervix, it usually produces the mucus secretion, so it helps during the parturition. Parturition is the process of the delivery of the newborn. Then what are the different layers of the uterine wall? The uterine wall, if you will suppose this is the uterus, so the uterine wall usually consists of three layers serially. So 1, 2, 3 I am making here, and on the either side there will be 1, 2 and 3. So the internal layer, it is called as endometrium, and it is a mucosal layer, and this mucosal layer lines the lumen of the uterus. Then in between, the second layer is the myometrium, and this completely myometrium is present in between the perimetrium, that is the outermost layer, and the endometrium is the innermost layer. So perimetrium and the endometrium, in between there will be myometrium, and this myometrium is consists of muscles, that is it is also called as muscular layer, and the arrangement of the muscles here is external longitudinal and the inner circular. And last layer is the outermost layer, that is called as perimetrium, and this is called as serous layer, and it is continuous with the peritoneal covering, and it also bears nerves or blood vessels. So the uterus, the uterine layers, there will be three layers. That is, number one is the from the outer side to inner side is the perimetrium, myometrium and the endometrium. So the endometrium of the uterus, that is mucus layer, there will be scattered, I already told you, there will be scattered maternal caruncles, and these maternal caruncles, they fuse with the placenta, the cotyledons of the placenta. Okay, so it will complete the placenta. Maternal caruncles along with the cotyledons of the placenta. So there will be attachment in between the maternal caruncle and cotyledons. They are 80 to 100 in number, and they are scattered and they are arranged into the rows. You can see here they are button-like structures, small structures. They may be of oval shape, they may be of rounded, and they are 80 to 100 in numbers. And they are present over the uterine endometrium, that is the mucus layer, internal layer of the uterus. Again, I am telling uterus from outside to inside, there are three layers, that is perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. So these are also called as endometrial caruncles. Then placentum, I already told you that placentome, they are usually formed by the uterine caruncles and the cotyledons of the, you can see here, the uterine, this is the uterine wall, and these are the uterine caruncles, and there will be cotyledon of the fetal side, so it will form the placentome. Then what are the different species? I mean, there will be some differences in the species differences. So in case of the mare, the mucous membrane has no caruncles. This is very, very important. In the female genital tract of the horse, or in case of the mare, the mucous membrane of the uterus, it does not bear any caruncles, means endometrium, it will be flat. There will be no caruncles. In case of the sow, means female pig, the fornix vagina is absent. Fornix vagina, I already told you that the space in between the projected part of the cervix toward the vagina, so there will be formation of one space in between the projected part of the vagina and the projected part of the cervix and the wall of the vagina. So this space is called as fornix vagina. So it is absent in case of the sow. So in case of the bitch, very, very important, if you will look at out the uterine horns, so these uterine horns gives appearance like alphabet V, and this is important characteristic feature in case of the bitch only. Sometimes in objective questions, these questions can come that the V-shaped uterine horn is the characteristic feature in case of the which animal. So you have to give correct answer as a which. Then last part of the female genital tract is the vagina. So vagina, the second last part of the female genital tract is vagina. As I already told you that it consists of the ovary, then oviduct, then the uterus. Then uterus consists of three parts, that uterine horns, body of the uterus, then there will be cervix, then there will be vagina, and last part is the vulva. So out of these five parts, these four parts up to vagina, they are internally located. You cannot visualize from the outside, but vulva you can see in the animals from the externally also. So the vagina, it is a tubular passage, and it extends from the cervix of the uterus up to the vulva. So it is a tubular passage, which is present from cervix up to the vulva, and it is about 25 to 30 centimeter long, and there is no line of demarcation in between the vagina and vulva. Means there is no demarcation in between the vagina and vulva. It is continuous, so you cannot differentiate, you cannot demarcate in between the vagina and the vulva. And the vagina is dorsally, it is related with the rectum, and below it is related with the bladder and the urethra, that is urinary bladder and the urethra. And the lateral part means over the both sides. So this is the lateral part. So this lateral part, it is related to the pelvic wall. And the mucous membrane of the vagina is highly elastic, very, very important, and it does not bear any gland. And so here, you can see here. So this complete is the vagina, and there is no demarcation between the vagina and the vulva. Very important structure present here is there are two ducts along with the length of the tube. You can see here, over here. Here you can see these are the walls. Okay, so in the muscular and mucous cord. So in internal cord is the mucous cord, and here will be the muscular cord. So in between the mucus and the muscular cord, there are two uh, tube-like structure, and these tube-like structures are called as canals of the Gardner. This is very, very important because the internal layer of the vagina is the mucus layer, and this layer is the muscular layer. So in between the muscular and mucus layer, there are two tube-like structures, and these are called as canals of the Gardner. And these canals of the Gardner, they opens on the either side of the urethral opening. And one more important structure, if you will see here on as you know, this is the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder, this is the urethra. So this urethra opens at the vagina in case of the vagina and in between the vulva in case of the female genital tract. And there are two structures on the either side of the external urethral orifices, because this urethra, the one part which opens in the bladder is called as internal urethral orifices, and the part of the urethra that opens into the female genital tract, that is called as external urethral orifices. And on the either side of the external urethral orifices, there are two, means on the either side there are two diverticulum, that is called as suburethral diverticulum. So in case of the female genital tract, the important thing is to remember is the canals of the Gardner, then external urethral orifices, and there will be suburethral diverticulum. Then you can see here. So this is the external urethral orifices, and here you can see these are the suburethral diverticulum. And up to here is the vagina, and you can see this part is the vulva. Then what is the species differences? In case of the Eve and Doe, means sheep and goat, there are it is 3 to 4 inches long, and in case of the mare, it is shorter in length, about 15 to 20 centimeter, and it is less capacious as compared to the cow. The vaginal wall is thin, and very, very important is canals of Gardner is generally absent. These canals of Gardner, I already told you, that is present in the vagina in between the mucus and the muscular layer. And the suburethral diverticulum is also absent, that is present on the either side of the external urethral orifices. In case of the sow, it is small in caliber, means it is small in size, about 4 to 5 inches, and a medium size. Bitch, in case of the bitch, it is relatively long and narrow. The mucous membrane forms longitudinal folds, means if you will dissect out the vagina of the bitch, there will be longitudinal folds will be present inside the vagina. The last structure is the vulva, and this vulva is the you can see it from the external. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Okay, last part is the please mute. Who is? Whose phone is ringing? I don't know. Shekhar. I will, because I think he is not listening the classes properly. Yes. So last part, are you able to see
Hello,
the?
sir.
Yes. Are you here?
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir.
Or you are just keeping your phone and going some here and there because I was telling you that to mute, but you was not hearing properly. Okay, leave
No,
it. Last part is, are you able to see the PPT?
yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So last part is the vulva, and the vulva is the terminal part of the female genital tract, and it is continuous in front with the vagina and opens externally at the vulvar clefts. So very important is the vulva is usually formed by the two vulvar lips. On the either side there will be two vulvar lips, that is 1 and 2, and it is about 10 to 12 centimeter long, and it is related above the rectum and the anus. It is related above the rectum and the anus, and below with the floor of the pelvic cavity, and laterally by the sacroischiatic ligament. So you can see here these two are called as vulvar cleft, and these are vertical slit about 10 to 12 centimeter high, and they are thick and wrinkled and unite above and below to form dorsal and ventral commissures respectively. So here is the dorsal and ventral commissures respectively. And the clitoris is present in between these two vulvar clefts in the fossa clitoris. So when you will open the lips of the vulvar lips, so there will be clitoris in the fossa clitoris. Then so the body of the clitoris or the glans clitoris is situated in the fossa clitoris. Then the mucous membrane of the vulva, when you will just separate the vulvar lips, so the mucous membrane of the vulva is pink or yellowish red in color. At the floor, a pair of large and some small vestibular glands are present. So you can see here, this is vulva, and here you can see this is the clitoris. So this clitoris is present in the fossa. This is present in the fossa clitoridis, and this whole, it is communicated with the vagina in front, and these two are the vulvar lips when you will remove it. And the mucous membrane of the vulva is pink and yellowish red in color. So species differences. So the labia are thick in case of the pig, you can see here, and it is covered with wrinkled skin. The clitorius is in the form of small projection in the so, and the dorsal commissure is rounded. You can see here the dorsal commissure is rounded, and the ventral commissure is the pointed. You can see here the ventral commissure is the pointed, and the clitorius is long and flexious. The clitorius is long and flexious. In case of the bitch, the labia are thick. You can see the labia are thick, and the ventral commissure is pointed, same as the so, and the mucous membrane is red. When you will remove the vulvar lips, the mucous membrane of the vulva is the red in color. So last part is the female urethra. Okay, so as I already told you that from the urinary bladder there will be urethra, that is called as female urethra. Okay, so the internal opening of the urethra is towards the bladder is the internal urethral orifices, and the opening of the urethra in the female genital tract, that is at the junction of the vagina and vulva, it is called as external urethral opening. So it is situated centrally and related to the pelvic floor. It is related to the pelvic floor below and the vagina above. So as you can see here, this is the pelvic floor below and the vagina above. Okay, and external orifice, that is external orifice is about 10 to 12 centimeter. 10 to 12 centimeter from the ventral labial commissure. From here, The external urethral orifices is 10 to 12 centimeters from the ventral labial commissure, that is of vulva. And the female urethra opens at the junction of the vagina and vulva. Suppose this is the junction of the vagina and vulva, so it opens at the junction of the vagina and vulva. And in case of the male genital organ, as you know, the urethra, it remains in between the two crura of the penis, and it opens at the tip of the glans penis as an external urethral orifices. So this is about the female genital organs. Now the last topic which I will cover, the surgical operations of the organs in the pelvic cavities. There are some operations in the pelvic cavity of the animal that these are very, very important. So first is the urethrotomy. So urethrotomy, it is an operation which involves incision of the urethra, as I already told you in case of the male genital organ also, maybe. So what are the indications? There will be urethral calculi, and there will be obstruction of the obstruction in the urethra. Suppose there will be some particle that obstruct the urethra, so you have to perform the urethrotomy. In the urethrotomy, you have to cut the urethra, and you have to remove the particle which is present in between the urethra. So what are the sites? So depending on the location of the calculus, suppose this part is of the urethra, so suppose it is present here, so you have to operate from here, and suppose it is present here, so you have to operate from here. So there are two sites for the urethrotomy. One is the post-scrotal site and one is the scale site. So the post-scrotal site at the sigmoid flexor, as you know, in case of the male, there is sigmoid flexor about 3 inches behind the scrotum. So this is very, very important. So post-scrotal behind at the sigmoid flexor about 3 inches behind the scrotum. And the scale side, it is close to the scale arch. It is 2 inches below the scale arch, downwards along the medial line. So you have to just remember that urethrotomy usually perform for the removal of the any obstruction which is present in the urethra. This is important. The next is the cystotomy. Cystotomy is related to the urinary bladder. Suppose there is some calculi or some calculi. Usually, it will be blocked the urinary bladder and the urethra. So you have to perform the cystotomy. In the cystotomy, you have to give surgical incision over the urinary bladder, and you can remove the calculi, and this problem is also common in the human beings. Means we used to say the stone particles. And there is formation of the crystals in the urinary bladder, then they will obstruct the urinary. They usually form in the kidney, then they will block the urinary bladder as well as the urethra. Then what are the indications for the cystotomy? You have to remove the calculi, or there will be cancerous growth, etc. in the bladder. So, or you want to do catheterization of the urinary bladder. So what is the site that you have to perform? Vertical posterior flank incision or the ischiorectal fossa. So you have to just remember what is the main definition of the cystotomy and all the surgical procedures. It may come in your objective part. The third one is the vasectomy. Vasectomy, I think everybody knows. Vasectomy is the removal of the it is removal of the ceiling part of each vas deferens. Okay. Surgical cutting, you have to cut, vasectomy. Okay. So indication to prevent the ejaculation of the semen, and it is also helpful in the ABC, means the animal birth control. If you will perform the vasectomy, there will be no transportation of the semen, okay, through the penis. So the site is the posterior aspect of the scrotum above the each testicle. And one more terminology used in this is the vasectomy that is performed over the distal pole of the scrotum. So vasectomy, suppose these two are the scrotum, okay, and here is the vas deferens, here is the vas deferens, so you have to perform here. So there will be no ejaculation of the spermatozoa from the testicle into the vas deferens. The last is the castration. Castration is the surgical removal of the testicles. So it can be done by the removing both the testicles. So what are the indications? If there are to render the animal docile or in any disease condition related to testis, so you have to remove the testicles. So site is the parallel to the raphe corti. As I already told you that this is the raphe corti. So you have to just give incision here and you can remove both the testicles and then you can suture it back. So these are the some important surgical operations which are generally used in the male and female genital organs. So if you have any question, you can ask from me. If you have any doubt, you can ask from me. The topic is now open for discussion.
Sir, which animal is called beach?
Huh?
Sir, which animal is called beach?
Bitch,
Yes, sir.
you don't know.
No, sir.
Hey, female dog?
Okay, sir.
You are just asking silly question. Anything else anyone want to ask?
Sir, what is catheterization?
If you want to pass the catheter, as you know, in the human beings also, if there is problem in the urination, when somebody is sick or on the bed, so they used to pass one tube like structure to do frequent urination because the patient will not able to do the urination. Okay, so they used to pass one tube along with one pouch. So it is okay. So they used to pass catheter. So to passing catheter, this process is called as catheterization. Anything else? If no question, then thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.